So in problem set 3, about question number 3, they start referring to brain methods, and that is pretty much all that we need to know about when it comes to classes, right? So we've learned basically everything that we need, which is instance variables, constructors, getters, setters, toString, and then finally brain methods. And brain methods are the methods that you're normally accustomed to. They're the ones that perform a calculation based on the instance variables of the of the object, right, of the class. And yeah, I went ahead and made a change. So this used to be the point class, and then I changed it to class rect, which would be familiar to those of you who have taken the Python class. Because in Pygame, if you remember, we used recs, right, to describe sprites, and a rect had an x and a y. The x and y describe the top left corner of the rectangle of the sprite, and then it had a width and it had a height. And then I kept saying throughout the year that, these are the only 4 pieces of data that you need in order to calculate everything else that is available with the rect, right? And what was available with the rect was there was left, there was right, there was top, bottom, center x, center y, right? And so now I guess I'll prove that to be a fact, because we'll go ahead and program some of those other functions, right? So then yeah, we're here, and I say rect r, so I'm creating a variable of type rect, and then I'm putting a object of type rect into it, with 4 as the x, 5 as the y, 10 as the width, 10 as the height, and then I print out the rect, right? So then I come over here, and then I compile and I run, and it works, right? Everything goes good. And so I guess a brain method that we can create would be write, okay? And so get write. So what I would want it to do is I want to do system.println.get write, right? And what that should do is tell me where in my XY coordinate system is the right side of the rectangle. Okay, so if 4, 5 is the top left corner of the rectangle, and we have 10 as the width, 10 as the height, then we should be able to define this, right? So let's come over here, and we're gonna say public. This is going to return an int, so we're going to say int get right. And how do we do this? Yeah, let's get right. Well, we need to take the left side, because the top left corner is the x and y. So we need to take the left side, we need to take the x. So we say return x, and then we need to add the width, right? That gives you the right side of the rectangle. So this is what you would consider a brain method, right? It does some calculation, and then it returns the answer. So I go ahead and compile that, and I run it, and I get 14 as the right side. And that sounds about right, right? If the left side's at 4 and the width is 10, then the right side is at 14, right? So let's try another value. Let's try maybe 40, and then the width is 10, so that should put the right side of the rectangle at 50, right? So let's go ahead and come over here, compile, and run. Yeah, 50, right? So so yeah, that's a brain method, right? It's a method that takes the instance variables and possibly some additional information, right? And then it performs some calculation and returns an answer. So yeah, if you can get your head wrapped around that, then we basically know the ins and outs of classes and objects.